Good morning. I want to read to you from 2 Timothy 2, verse 20 through 22 this morning. Now in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay, some for honorable use, some for dishonorable. Therefore, if anyone cleanses himself from what is dishonorable, he will be a vessel for honorable use, set apart as holy, useful to the master of the house, ready for every good work. Now keep in mind the context. We've seen Hymenaeus and Philetus and how they've led some people away, but Paul reminds Timothy that the Lord's foundation stands firm, that you are his and you rest in that. So that means that the shadow of the impact of people who are taking others away from the faith is here in this text. It's kind of hanging over it a little bit. Now, I want you to notice something immediately in what I read. There are honorable and there are dishonorable. And the honorable and the dishonorable have to do with use. Honorable use, dishonorable use. So there are purposes that we set ourselves toward. And it seems as though Paul is telling Timothy, you need to step away from individuals who are choosing to live in ways that are using their vessel dishonorably. That they're choosing to use it in a way that if you hang around them, you can end up polluting your own purpose or your own use. So there's something about influences here that are important. Now, when I was a kid, I went through a spell when I was little. Man, I was in second grade, I still remember. I swore and had such a crass mouth. I mean, I would put a sailor under the table with how I used my tongue. It was unbelievable. Now, my parents never knew. But man alive, I'd get on the school bus, and the school bus had kids from up the street. And those kids up the street used to pick on me, and I would come back at them, and we would go at it with each other. And I developed a mouth that you could not believe around those influences. I still remember one young man who was older than me. I looked up to him, and he was not the kind of guy I should have looked up to, but I asked him one day if it was okay to say the F word. And he said, yeah, just as long as you don't say it too much. Well, that just liberated me. And I began to have such a foul tongue. I look back at that, and even as I was an older kid, I looked back at that and thought, that's what happens when you get around people who have a different kind of use of their vessel. You just begin to enculturate a kind of acceptance. Now, may seem like a simple illustration, but it's an important one, because it may not be a foul tongue, but it might be what you look at. It might not be what you look at, but it might be how you think about reality. It might be how you interface with family. It might be how you prioritize your life. It might be how you develop idols or stay away from idols. And so what you want to do is make sure that you are being influenced and set apart. And as you're being set apart, so to speak, and you're setting yourself apart, that you're doing it by cleansing yourself of poor and bad influences. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how old you are. We can all have poor influences. They come by friendships, they come by media, they come by associations, they come by business, they come by all kinds of things. And you don't want divisive influences, you don't want derisive influences, you don't want things that come into your life from people that are going to pull you away from holiness and community. So just a warning, guard your influences. That's what this text is about. Have a wonderful day.